folks, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. Today I am using the Thoth Tarot, and I will shuffle until Spirit tells me to stop, and at that point I will give the message that Spirit wants me to give. I'm not going to put in reversals with this particular shuffle. They are not necessary, and Spirit also says that they are not necessary. So here we go, shuffling. We have the Magus, the Magician. You are powerful. We are powerful. We have all the tools that we need in front of us in order to bring about or manifest the future that we're meant to have. We do need to work with our ancestors, with our guides, and with the universe in order to get there. And we need to make sure that we're not manifesting something evil. Instead, we need to make sure that we are manifesting something towards our best and our highest good. I understand that after this particular week, that there may be a number of emotions running high. You may feel deeply confused about what to think and how to feel. This is the time to settle your mind. Meditation is a great way. If like a guided meditation, for instance, doing some body scans, for instance, that might be helpful for you. But also understand that the universe is sweeping away the old in order to make room for the new. And that might feel rough, and that might actually be rough at times. Trust in the universe that all will be well, and that you need to work with the instruments that the universe gives you. You need to work with what they give you in order to bring about your best and your highest good. It won't always feel good, but at the end, you will know that you worked the best that you could for peace, for yourself, for your communities. Excuse me. Make no mistake, we are about to go through rough times. Here we've got the Six of Swords, also known as Science. That appears to be Mercury in Aquarius. So, deep communication, using transportation, using technology as a way to drive a rebellion, a revolution. And this can be within yourself, but understand that you need to carefully study how it is that you can use your powers for manifestation for good before moving forward. This is not something that you should do just reacting to a situation. Studying the situation and then moving forward with the tools that you've been blessed with is the best course of action here. Communicating is necessary, but also understanding that the old needs to be swept away in order for the new to take place. That's what Aquarius is all about. We did switch into Pluto in Aquarius on November 19th in 2024. We're starting to feel those effects now. The thing is, there's not much middle of the road energy when it comes to Aquarius or its planet known as its associated planet Uranus. There's not much middle of the road there. That's for the next era, for Pluto and Pisces to settle things down, for us to see the beauty in life again. That's for after all this time. We've been building up to such a divisive time towards a very authoritarian time, meant to destroy those who are considered to be weak, who are considered to be undesirable. We've been building up to this era for a long time. Pluto and Capricorn exposed how the powers that be, that exist, the billionaire class, moves the power more towards them. And every time it feels like a little bit of power is given back to the collective, it's sucked away again. That's what it felt like in Pluto and Capricorn. We are going to be in the shadow of Pluto and Capricorn until January 2026. When I look at the ephemeris tables, it looks like we're not going to be out of that shadow until not even February, really. February 2026. What that means is Pluto and Capricorn will have some degree of sway. We'll still be fighting a lot of the habits that the billionaire class acquired over 2008 through 2024. Okay? There's still stuff that needs to fall apart, and studying how you can use your abilities for good is going to be key during this time. Please keep in mind that there's nobody coming to rescue us. We need to recognize the power within ourselves, and we need to get to the point where we start to distrust our leaders who have been pushed up through Pluto and Capricorn. We need to get to the point where we don't trust them as much as we trust ourselves, as much as we trust our collective, our communities. We need to be pushed to that point. That's not going to be easy. Here we've got the Princess of Swords. I know I said the Thoth Tarot, but it's a little bit different of a system than the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. This is earth and air and earth energy. So this is about very, very blunt words. It's about very material manifestation. She says something, and that thing appears in the material. Let us study right here how we can bring about our material future. Let's study about how we can use our words and our thoughts to benefit us and to benefit our best and our highest goods. Like I said earlier, that's not going to be easy. Aquarius has never been an easy transit for a lot of people. It can be very beautiful, depending on what comes out of it. But here we've got quite a bit of sword energy. We're going to need to sharpen our intelligences. We're going to need to sharpen our minds in order to get through this particular era, and in order to get through it without falling into evil. The thing with this magician is that it can go either way. It can be used for good, but it can also be used for a great evil. And it depends on you, and it depends on the collective to see where that goes. Remember that change starts from within you. Change starts from the grassroots and moves on up. We have the Eight of Discs, also known as the Eight of Pentacles, Prudence. Excuse me. Being wise about how we manifest the things that we want is going to be very, very key. With the Princess of Swords, that's basically the Page of Swords. This is someone who is very sharp, very intelligent. There's the risk that we could go a little bit haywire with the energy in this particular card. This is a very young energy, a child's energy even. This is a journey that we have the opportunity to grow on. This is us starting out on that. So in order to manifest the best version of this Princess of Swords, who also embodies earth energy, we need to be cautious about how we use the powers that are given to us. Okay? Wisely grow something. I've got Sun in Virgo right here. Let's be extremely detail-oriented about what words we say, and also about the thoughts that we think. For a lot of people, their mind, or I'll put myself in there too, my mind just kind of spits out random stuff, and once I really start to pay attention to my thoughts, I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from, okay? So it is for a lot of us. Our culture encourages an ADHD way of operating in the world. Move from topic to topic to topic to topic without slowing down to think about why our minds are moving at the speed that they are. It does take a degree of detachment, and this particular entity is not there yet. So that's why we need the groundedness of this particular card in order for us to grow out of the Princess of Swords and to grow into the Knight of Swords, to grow into the Prince of Swords, and into the Queen of Swords as well. We're not meant to stay in this particular stage. We're meant to grow out of it eventually, okay? It's a good starting point, but we're not meant to stay there. That's stagnancy. Look at this, Prince of Discs. Now, this is so interesting. These are kind of twins in a way, because the Prince of Discs is Earth and air energy. The Princess of Swords is air and earth, so twins in a way. Fascinating stuff. So with the Prince of Discs, that is the Knight of Pentacles in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. With prudence, with care, with wisdom, you can move forward. That's the Taurus bull, the Taurian bull, or cow, if you will. Move forward with care, but don't leave the mind out of mind out of it entirely, okay? This is all sword and disc energy so far. Normally, those are elements that clash with one another, but if we have them work together, remember that air can carve earth. We just moved into Pluto in Aquarius, which is all about air energy. We moved out of Pluto, or in the process of fully moving out of Pluto and Capricorn. That is earth energy. Really cool stuff. But this is about being very deliberate, slow thinking, and very careful, even tedious thinking at times. I understand that some people really don't like the tedium of slowing down and being careful and detail-oriented. But that Sun in Virgo is calling us to actually slow down and do the slow, careful, tedious work that the Prince of Discs is happy to do and feels like he's in his element. So we need to get these twin entities working together. A perfect balance of air and earth energy is what we have right here. Really cool stuff, actually. Would you believe it? There's more sword energy. 8 of Swords interference. This is landing on top of the Princess of Swords. She needs to be able to cut down any kind of interference through words, through thoughts as well, through personal thoughts. You might hear someone put out a lot of word vomit, thoughtless speaking. You might find yourself word vomiting out of deep anxiety. This is when you need to become grounded once again. Groundedness through this time period is key. I understand that the week behind us, I'm filming this on the 26th of January 2025, okay? I understand that the week behind us has been deeply upsetting for a lot of people, has caused a lot of people to become deeply fearful. Pay attention to those fears and ask where they're coming from truly deeply. For a lot of people, the danger is immediately out in front of them. For refugees without documents in the United States, their danger is very tangible. And for other quote-unquote undesirables by the billionaire class, the danger is very tangible. And even still, thoughts must not run away. We must become the master of our thoughts and plan very carefully, become very deeply grounded in what it is that we need to do to keep ourselves safe while also continuing to hold up our best and our highest versions of ourselves. Excuse me. Even when life is truly hard and is awful, that doesn't mean that we can't stay close to our guides, close to our ancestors, and continue to work through even the most difficult times. Sword and earth energy, air and earth energy are deeply connected to spirit in different ways. With the swords, that's all about our thoughts. That can be connected to spirit. With the earth, that's our bodies and what our bodies need to be comfortable while they're on this earth. That can also be connected to spirit very, very carefully. Very mindfully is what I should say. Even when the body is suffering, the mind can pull you closer to spirit and ask, what can we do to make our whole selves fully balanced? Normally, earth and air energy is not balanced. They're at odds with each other, but that doesn't mean that they can't work. It's harder to make them work together, but you can make them work together. When your mind starts to run away, it has a physiological effect on your body. What can you do to bring the two into balance? Community is going to be absolutely key. But remembering that you are the magus, that you are the magician, is also key during these incredibly difficult times. It's important that we had a major arcana card to kick off this particular reading. This is Jupiter and Gemini. So a great expansion of an energy that may be like a fear, for instance, of allowing your mind to go, and I'll put myself in this too. I'm a Gemini, okay? I'm a Sun Gemini. It's very easy for my mind to go wandering, and before I know it, 30 minutes have been wasted, an hour has been wasted, a whole day has been wasted for me, okay? Because it's very easy to allow my mind to run away. The Princess of Swords must ground the mind. She knows better than most how handy, how necessary it is for her mind not to go a million miles an hour to nowhere, basically. It's a goose chase that does not need to happen. We have here the Hanged Man. In spite of everything that's happened this week, in spite of all the fear-mongering that you might get from your own mind, from sources outside of your mind, you need to stay put and watch what's going on and observe from a new angle, and also accept the downloads, the spiritual downloads that the universe is giving you, that your guides, your ancestors are giving you. That's not going to be easy. For a lot of action-oriented people, that's going to be difficult. That's going to be a genuine challenge. Here is how my cards are laid out. The Magus, the Eight of Pentacles or Discs, and then you've got the Hanged Man. So wisdom says, let's be cautious about using the swords out in front of us. Let's hang back for just a second and gather the wisdom that we need in order to be the Magus, the manifestation of our best and our highest goods here on earth. Not just when we're a part of Source, when we leave the mortal plane and go back to Source. This is stuff that we can have now. Downloads from the 4D into our reality. That's going to take a lot of wisdom, and that's going to take choosing to unplug from sources that would rather feed you fear, because fear gives them power, okay? I do believe in forewarning is forearming, is being forearmed, but at a certain point, too much information overload is also part of interference. When we have information overload, it's easy to become anxious, and it's more difficult to become grounded. Unplugging from social media might be one of the best things that you've ever done for yourself this year. Unplugging from the news to a certain degree might be one of the best things that you could have done for yourself this year. Plugging into your intuition, plugging into the downloads that your guides are giving you, might very possibly be one of the best things that you could have done for yourself, not just during this time, but during your entire lifetime. This is a unique opportunity to do that, okay? Aquarius is also about water energy. That if you ever looked at an image of Aquarius, he's pouring water out onto the earth. I kind of get a temperance, kind of the star kind of feeling when I look at tarot cards and I relate it to Aquarius, okay? I'm not saying that they are actually related, okay? Don't quote me on that. But that's the feeling that I get. It's about healing the collective from the hard times that Pluto and Capricorn often gives the people when you look at them versus the billionaire class, okay? We have the Queen of Wands right here. Here she is pictured with a leopard. The first fire energy that we've gotten for some time. Now, this is also an entity that has kind of some clashing elements. As long as they are separated, they work wonderfully well. This is fire and water energy embodied, okay? So this is someone who knows how to take deep action when it's time, who knows how to use her deep magic when it's time, but also when to be deeply loving and compassionate. This is a very powerful entity, and ideally, we're meant to grow into the Queen of Wands, regardless of gender. We're meant to grow into someone who knows how to take action and when to do so with deep compassion, with love, and also with using our intuition. We don't just act willy-nilly, we do so with deep groundedness and with love for ourselves, for others. Selfless love, okay? We can selflessly love ourselves. We can say, I am a diamond in the rough and I need carving, but I will do so with love. That's a balanced understanding of ourselves. But here's what I have. I have the Six of Swords, science, with the Knight of it's the Knight of Pentacles, but it's also the Prince of Discs with the Queen of Wands, okay? Let us study how we can move forward carefully with great planning, how we can become the best versions of ourselves, people who act with loving kindness. This is going to be, it's going to take a lot of deep reflection, meditation, and thinking about who you are fundamentally. When you are pressed genuinely, when your environment presses you and makes you feel stressed, who do you become? This is when you need to review your reactions and responses with a degree of detachment and say, that's pretty cool, and that needs some assistance. That needs some work, okay? We are works in progress forever and for always until we pass out of this mortal plane, until we pass into nirvana. We need work, okay? But we need to carefully study our thoughts and see what direction they go in order to harness them for our best and our highest good. And then we can act from a very deep place of love, compassion, and sacred intuition, okay? And then we've got the Ten of Cups, satiety. How interesting. When we act carefully, right here, when we act with love, that's when we find our families, our communities. We will attract the people that we're meant to be around. And there will be a time of when we have to just watch things happen. And that's going to be difficult, make no mistake. But it's by acting with wisdom and careful planning, using all the elements presented to us. We have now all the elements. We've got earth and air, we got fire and water, all presented here. When we can act with deep balance, that's when we attract people who have also done the hard spiritual work of observing their behavior, observing their actions and their thoughts, and still taking care of their bodies in spite of what their situations present them. Take from the bottom only 2 cards. We've got the Four of Discs. That's Sun in Capricorn. So we come back to that earth energy, we come back to the elements and how they're balanced on top of the turrets. I know that my camera isn't quality, but it does show each of the elements embodied. So earth and Sun and Capricorn. This is the best version possible of Capricorn. We're meant to be grounded in how we act, how we behave, how we take care of our bodies, how we think, how we speak. We're meant to be careful also how we emote, how we feel compassion towards ourselves and others. And we can build a kind of fortress for ourselves, a protective fortress, if we move forward in deep balance. But that's the thing, it's a balancing act. And not allowing our fears to take hold of us. Not allowing all these, imagining all these catastrophes that could happen is how we start to bring things into balance. Bring our emotions into balance is also part of this. It's not just for Geminis, just for air signs who think way out of whack. It's also for people who get deeply emotional and may not think about how they got deeply emotional about a particular situation. Where did that come from? That's hard work to do. It requires digging underneath the surface, and often that means tapping into trauma that has not been fully healed yet. When you heal the trauma, you become a much stronger version of yourself that becomes more difficult to defeat in battle, if you will. It also becomes more difficult to defeat you in the war, not just the battle. There is deep happiness on the way in spite of these times. You can bring deep happiness to yourself in spite of the outside environment, which may be on fire, which may be in a deeply destructive state. That doesn't mean that you need to be in a deeply destructive state. Ultimately, when you are a balanced individual, when you have all the elements in balance, as you can see here with the Sun in Capricorn, that's also about limiting the things that other people can do for you because you are in such a balanced state. That is when you can acquire true happiness. that cannot be touched by environmental factors. It's about deep peace. By the way, that is the Sun card in case you didn't already realize that. That is about coming to a deep peace that takes you from lifetime to lifetime in spite of what happens to you. And granted, there are not many people who can come to that particular stage where no matter what happens, they still have a deep peace. That means a true shrinkage of ego to the point where me, hardly exists, and just your true essence that passes from life to life is all that exists. That's hard. And a lot of people aren't able to do that because it's so hard. That doesn't mean that it's not worth trying and working for. Absolutely every day, every minute of every day is worth working towards that particular goal. Even if you fail, even if you slip up, that's part of the process. Take that and learn from it, basically. Move on from it. That may be difficult as well. Holding a grudge against yourself, replaying old conversations within yourself is how interference works sometimes. Learn to let that go. You can learn. It'll be a process. I forgot to hold these cards up. Okay. When the Princess of Discs acts and says what she needs to and defeats the interference that comes from these swords, that's when she finds the people that she's meant to stay with, that she's meant to grow with. I've said it before many times. Community is key to get through this era, but also community is key once it's a kind of reward. After you've done the work within yourself, you're going to magnetize the people who are meant to be with you, who are meant to work through this Pluto and Aquarius era together with you for your best and your highest good, for everybody's best and highest good, okay? Just because rough things are happening does not mean that you can't be elevated to an incredible spiritual point. So I want to pull from the Sufi Wisdom Oracle deck, and I want to close out with some words of wisdom, both kind and blunt at the same time. I enjoy these cards. So that didn't take much, all from the top. Surrender with joy. Achieve greatness through surrender. Understanding that there's nobody coming to rescue the situation as it is right now. That doing the difficult act of watching how things play out and not allowing your mind to run away with all the catastrophes that might or might not happen is going to be key. This is hard spiritual work, and it is absolutely worth doing. It's absolutely worth practicing, even if you mess up. That's no reason to throw the whole practice away. Meditation is going to be key. Just 15 or 20 minutes, or however many minutes you can handle throughout a day, is going to be wonderful for you. Transformation. Let love transform you forever. These times do not feel very loving at all, and I understand completely. These feel like very harsh, even horrific times, and granted, we've not gotten to the genuinely rough part of this American fascist regime yet, okay? I'll be honest, we haven't gotten to the rough part. If we can practice now while things are still relatively chill, believe it or not, they are chill for right now, it'll be a little bit less difficult later on when things really do get to the difficult parts. Okay, you can watch my previous videos on what the collective needs to know. I started in around July last year with what we can expect from Project 2025. And lo and behold, a lot of those executive orders that the 47th administration signed in are in alignment with Project 2025. Okay, being aware is helpful, but also understanding that this is not a situation for you to struggle against necessarily. Resist, absolutely. Fight against to say that you did. but understand that the universe is sweeping away the old. And in order to do that, it needs to blow the old way out of proportion in order for it to finally explode. That's still going to be difficult for you. I understand. Transform yourself. Let love for yourself, love for the universe, for your guides, for your ancestors to transform you even when it is difficult. We've been talking about the ego on this particular channel now for a bit. This says beyond the ego, surrender to the flow of life. Sometimes times are good, and sometimes things are really, really awful, and we need to go through both of those times and everything in between in order to appreciate when things are really, really good. You were born for this particular era for a reason. And if you can come towards the reason for your existence, your best and your highest self will know. You'll be magnetized towards that. That's how you start to move beyond the ego. Because the ego is what divides us. What causes us to think in destructive patterns, to say, to emote, to believe destructive patterns that do not serve us, that harm us, that divide us from other people. I understand that this might not have been an easy message to hear, and I respect that. I thank you for watching to this particular point. I would love to discuss this reading with you in the comments if you are of the mindset to do so. Please take care. Have a good one.